Hello, and welcome to the Big Brother in Our House podcast, week number 2. Crazy week we just had, and we have lots to talk about. I'm Justin, joined by my co-host Scott, as always. And Scott, what did you think of this week before we get too into it?
I'm speechless. I have no words to describe what happened this week. Crazy second week. We saw
Yeah,
alliances form and decline and blow up. I think we saw a bit of everything this week.
we really did. Yeah, we got a lot to get into, so let's just get into it. I guess as we did it last time, so I guess we'll make it an always thing. Let's talk about the evictee this week first. Let's talk about Nicole A. Um, Honestly, Nicole A. Like I don't even know where to start with her. I'll let you start because I need a second to think.
Well, her biggest mistake was not playing the safety suite.
Mhm.
She should have played. When you go up to Memphis and he's telling you, you should play the safety suite because you could potentially be an option. I know you don't want to do it because he's telling you to do it, but you should do it. This is him trying to tell you, hey, you got to play for yourself. If you think you're safe, you're going up, right? And who's to say? Like we will never know if Nicole played the safety suite. She may still have gone on the block, and she might not have. We'll never know, but she should have at least played. She definitely had no chance at winning it, but she should have at least swiped and played and try and at least win.
Yeah, I think that this season Nicole was a lot more emotional than she was in the last season. Last season she played a bit emotional, but this season was like 10 times more. I don't know if it's because it's an all-star season, so she thinks stakes are higher, but like I think that's where she really messed up this week was yeah, the safety suite was a big mess up for her, but I think her biggest mess up was being overly emotional in week 2. I mean, she was crying a lot. And also, like, with the whole thing with Janelle and Kaser, and she just assumed right away that they backstabbed her when that really wasn't the case at all. It was more Memphis
Mm-hmm.
just backstabbing Janelle and Kaser more than anything else. Um, so honestly, I think she just played a little bit too emotional too quick. Trusted some people too quick too. Um, and that kind of ended up being her doom in the game.
Yeah, 100%. And to be fair, like Nicole did her best to try and campaign for votes. She went to people who wouldn't have given her vote. Also, like you hear from house guests who come out of the house and they say you'll never understand the stress of the game unless you go in that house.
I'm sure.
And I bet you it's because it's an all-star season, that stress is multiplied by 10, right? So that
100%.
that definitely had a lot to do with what you're saying about the emotions. And like Nicole did her best. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say Nicole deserved to leave because she fought. She did her best, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out for her. The wrong side of the house had prevailed.
Yeah. Um, okay. I agree. I think there's not much more to talk about with Nicole. I think
Mhm.
she just didn't come um prepared. I don't know. Um, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the house and what happens after this because kind of a crazy eviction too. So, because I think what's crazy about it is so 10-2 vote. Tyler, um, Tyler and Enzo were the only two to vote to keep Nicole. That's right,
No,
right?
no, not Tyler. It was
I thought Tyler voted
no
Nicole
Tyler.
out.
Tyler was working with David.
Yeah, that's why
Tyler
she
voted
voted.
against.
Oh, so who was it? Enzo and it wasn't Cody because I noticed they voted differently.
No, It was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I don't even remember.
I can't remember.
Anyways,
Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah. Oh, because they're like best friends. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that Enzo kind of did like just voted for David to be evicted, even though like kind of out of nowhere. Like there's no real reason to vote Nicole over David for him. I mean, he's closely aligned with Cody. They got a solid two going. Cody wanted Nicole out, it seemed like. He voted for Nicole. So I don't understand that. Kind of just to throw off, I guess.
Yeah.
That's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of that because someone's going to try to figure out who the second vote was, and I think there's going to be something coming out there. And I don't think
100%.
they'll even think it's Enzo, to be honest. I might think it's like Davon or Janelle maybe or
Yeah.
Keezer. Like it's going to be very interesting. I think Enzo might have done that to put a target on Janelle Kaser even more.
That's so true.
Could be.
Or maybe to see if there's like a rift, to cause a rift between them. Maybe they see if they voted differently.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. And okay, so as for David though, David, I don't think he's doing too well in this house. I mean, I think that he's a rookie, and you could tell he's a rookie compared with the other Big Brother players. I don't think he's being treated very nicely in that house, but he is saying some rookie things, like in today's episode where he was sitting with Davon, and he told her to calm down. It's not something you do in the Big Brother house, especially to an emotional player like Davon. So, and he basically almost gave away his entire.
He was trying to help him, and yeah, she was trying to help David, right? So like,
yeah,
100%. But I think David's going to get another week in the house. I think he's going to be fine this week. You know, he has an ally in power. We'll get to that in a minute. But David definitely needs to figure his shit out.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think David needs to figure stuff out because what he's doing right now isn't working for him. Plus, like I know you said last week, you said that he shouldn't be gunning for HOHs or anything. He should be laying low. And I don't know if you noticed during the HOH competition, but he looked like he was going for it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with David. I don't see David as a past jury player, but we'll see. Maybe he'll surprise me.
You know what? Though I do change my stance on that, and I think he should be definitely gunning for HOH.
Yeah,
he should definitely try to get HOH.
Point.
He needs power. He needs power. I definitely think now like he's got to get a hold of himself and try and get himself back in the game. Prove to people he deserves to be here. Because to be honest, you know, as ironic and weird as this sounds, him winning competitions would put less of a target on his back.
Yeah.
Because now people, because I think people are going after him because they don't think he deserves to be there. And if he starts winning competitions, people are like, oh, maybe he does deserve to be here. So I don't know. Maybe him, if he won a competition or two, people might start thinking, let's let him be here. But
yeah, I agree. I think he should be gunning for HOHs, and he needs to really prove to the other house guests that he belongs to be there. Obviously, there's a good sway. It's a good sway in for Memphis. So, like obviously, Memphis called him out in the nomination ceremony and said that he needs to prove to be here. And Memphis, like I don't know, I love Memphis. It's from my favorite season, my favorite alliance ever. But like the way he's played this game so far, like it's making me lose my love for Memphis. And I love Memphis as a player so much. So, but what he said at that nomination ceremony just wasn't nice. Like it was such a bad, like it was such a mean thing to say. And
Like I look at season 10, right? And I go back to the when Jesse got evicted and the whole fight that ensued, and people started talking about Dan's religion, and Memphis in the diary room started going like, people like that where I come from get punched in the mouth. Now,
I never even thought about that.
the hypocrisy in that statement is he comes and immediately targets the weakest link in the house. I don't care what you say about David, he is the weakest link in the house because of how very little he's played. And now he's going to him. He gives him a rough speech on making him a have-not. He goes to the nomination table and starts making rude comments and unnecessary comments that even gets people from his own alliance like, dude, that was too far.
Like, I don't get why you're picking on the guy. Like,
right. So,
okay, I get it. You nominate him. Like, I get it. But don't nominate him for that reason. Like, nominate him because you think he's a wild card, let's say. Like, you don't nominate him because he's never been in the house. Like, that's just a stupid reason. Like,
I've heard from there's a whole subreddit on Big Brother, and like past house gets posted in there all the time. And the other day I saw there's a rule to being HOH. You cannot nominate someone for no reason.
Yeah.
You have to have a reason for nominating someone. And
like nominate him as a pawn, nominate him as like there's so many ways you can nominate him. I think he was intended to be the pawn this week anyways. Like I think they were planning on getting Nicole out and they did so. So I think that was
both pawns.
I think that was kind of the underlying intention. But I don't know why
they're probably both pawns because I don't think he cared who left.
I think he cared. I think he wanted Nicole out specifically, just because Nicole's been working with Kaser and Janelle before that point. But I don't know. Janelle and Kaser are still a number for him. So, but I don't think he's playing well at all. I think
Memphis is in trouble.
I thought week 1 Memphis. I thought he was gonna make it far and make it to top 3, and I think I even said that in the podcast last week. And now,
yeah, you did.
Well, there goes that.
I can see Tyler getting rid of him. Like, I think he's very.
We'll get it. We'll get into what I think Tyler will do, but I think he's sitting on an edge. But we'll get into our weekly predictions at the end of the episode, and we'll say what we think Tyler will do.
Here's the thing about Memphis, right? I think him choosing to get rid of either Nicole A or David, like at the veto, not making a move, showed his cards. I think Memphis was screwed no matter what by winning that veto because he was forced to show his cards. If it was someone who won the veto, like if it was like Nicole F who won the veto, she probably wouldn't have used the veto, and then Memphis wouldn't have been forced to play his hand.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Memphis winning it, now he holds the power. Now Janelle wants him to do this.
He's going back on all his alliances. Because all his alliances wanted something, and he did a complete opposite thing than that his alliances wanted him to do.
And now both of his alliances are pissed at him. Both of his alliances are ready to turn against him. I think he's in trouble. I'm not sure Tyler's going to do it this week. I think Tyler has bigger fish to fry. But I think Memphis has to be on edge. I think Memphis is going to be playing safety suite no matter what. Whoever has their card left, they're playing safety suite.
For sure.
But
it's a must win. It's a must win.
I thought it was brilliant of him to go out and try and get rid of as many safety suite cards as he could.
Yeah, that was genius.
But the way he went about it was, I don't like it.
I think that might have been the only good thing he did this week. I think he actually executed that really well, and I actually have to give him kind of kudos because I think he actually did a very good job.
That was a great move. That was a great move.
That was a Dan Giesling move.
And very much so. and Nicole was the only person left who he wasn't working with that had the safety sweep pass, and they evicted her. So
Yeah.
now everyone who's got the pass
Is on his side.
he's working with, right?
Yeah.
So one of his alliance members now is in power. And you know what? The thing is, I think Memphis kind of just thinks he's gonna have to win, which I agree he will have to win too. Like, even though I don't think Tyler would put him up, you got to have that in your back pocket, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of his alliance members are going to give him the +1.
Yeah. I agree. I think winning HOH this week and is probably the worst thing he could have happened for Memphis's game. But we'll
100%.
see. I think the power went to his head a bit.
Oh,
Anyways, let's get to another player. Let's talk about Cody and Enzo. Kind of quiet weeks for both of them. Enzo especially.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Enzo a little bit just 2 seconds ago about the random vote. The repercussions of that's going to be very interesting. I think that he's going to use it to target someone. Kind of like
The meow meow was like.
Kind of
the
like
meow meow was so quiet this week though. Like, he was like, it's almost like he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, compared to last week where he was in Cody's ear, and it was a very interesting week for Enzo because Enzo is usually the guy in everyone's ear, and this week he was just laying low. Maybe it's because he thought he was safe and he didn't need to talk to Memphis about nominations or anything. Maybe he just felt he was safe and didn't bother. But
he was neutral this week, though. Like,
but sometimes that's a good thing, right? Sometimes just laying low for a little bit is a great thing. So, plus he's well aligned in the house. Though. Everyone loves him. So,
yeah, he's very neutral this week, though. Like, no one he was aligned with had power. No one he was against had power, and he just had no reason to say anything. So,
yeah. And then the thing with Cody this week, Cody was a little bit more vocal than Enzo, not as much. Not as much, not as quiet, but he was very interesting too, because even in the alliance, it seemed like he wasn't even going into Memphis's ear at all. I think after winning week 1 HOH, I think he just didn't want to talk too much and be too big of a powerhouse in the house, be seen as too big of a target in the house. Because if he's talking in Memphis's ear and he's talking and he was week 1 HOH, that starts to become, okay, this is Cody's house. He's running the house. Let's get him out, right? So I think it's a smart play by both of them to lay low for now. I still think that they're a really good duo and they'll make it far. And they're well aligned in the house. Cody a little bit more than Enzo, more well aligned. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. And the thing with Cody is that alliance that he's in, the 6-person one, the main alliance in the house, probably, right? That alliance is up in the air right now. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, they all seem ready to turn on Memphis. I think the 5 of them are strong. But I'm even going to even say cut Christmas out of this. I think the 4 of them are strong together. Christmas is just an extra number, and Memphis is expendable.
I think Tyler's pretty close to Christmas. I think that's what's keeping Christmas really strong in there. I think Tyler and Christmas have a final 2, and I think it's a very safe final 2. It's a very honorable, I guess is the word, final 2. So I think that's why she's more in the group. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
You know what I found out? Christmas is a felon. She's a convicted felon.
Really?
Yeah. In between her season and now, she assaulted someone, a woman who hurt. So she's a kid, right?
Wow.
So
surprising.
her baby daddy cheated on her with another woman, and she assaulted that woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways,
Completely unrelated, but
completely
yeah.
unrelated. Wow, I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy.
It's not relevant to the season at all, but yeah.
No. I think Christmas has been playing well right now, though. She's kind of friends with everyone, but knows where her true loyalty stands, and I think she's playing well.
Yeah.
Nicole F is the other person in the alliance. I think that's the only one we haven't talked about, and Danny.
Yeah.
So Nicole F, another one that's just kind of friends with everyone, kind of just taking it easy, playing cool early weeks. She knows she's safe with her alliance while her alliance is in power, and she's okay. Janelle and Kaser did say at the start of the week that they were thinking of putting her up and approached Memphis about it. But I think by the end of this week, I don't think that's even in their plans anymore. I think they have bigger fish to fry now. So
Yeah,
I think they're Janelle and Kaser might be looking to move on from Memphis too, and maybe putting him up or someone else from that side of the house because they kind of figured out the alliance this week.
I think Danny is still sitting in a decent position. I think she's the last one on Janelle and Kaser's list of fish to fry. But I think she does have to keep in mind that Janelle and Kaser are going to be on their tail. So getting rid of Janelle and Kaser would basically put Danny into a very solid position to go far.
Yeah, I think Danny is very well set up in the house right now. She's friends with everyone. Everyone thinks Danny's on her side too. So she's getting secrets and things thrown at her. Everyone's telling her everything. I think she's a very scary player right now.
This might be completely irrelevant, but everybody in the diary room tonight said "Happy Birthday, Tennessee." So, that's how much influence she has on the house.
Yeah, that just goes to show.
Now that might be completely irrelevant and have nothing to do with this, but that's still showing the influence.
Honestly,
on the house, right? Honestly, the fact that everyone would go and say "Happy Birthday to Tennessee."
It does actually say things. It's not like it. I think it is a game move to getting people to say it because I remember. I think it was. I want to say it was Will who got everyone to do something. I have to remember what it was.
Got everyone to fast.
Yeah, he got everyone to fast. That's what it was. Because he was like, everyone needs to pay for their sins, so let's have a fast just to see if they could do it. Just to see if he was popular enough to get them to do it. And they did it. Some people didn't last that long, but
that wasn't the point.
They attempted and they did it. Now a fast is much different than a happy birthday, but I think it does speak to the popularity you have in the house if you can get everyone to say it. So I think it's actually a very smart game move to do it because you also test out how popular you are, how much people like you, because people aren't going to do it if they don't like you. That's just a fact, right? So
right.
I think Danny's well set up in this house and learning from the best.
She just needs Kaser. She just needs Kaser and Janelle to go, and she's 100% set.
Yeah. Okay. I guess.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I just want to say, Tyler seems to have an alliance with everybody, right?
Yeah.
So why is he so tight with David? Why does he want to protect David?
That's a good question. I think Tyler sees David as someone that could give him information. I think he sees David as someone that, even though he might not be his closest ally, there's enough trust there and loyalty that David will still always give him information. Does that make sense? That's what I think it is.
Together in my head. I'm trying to piece this together in my head. Why is he so trying to protect David? And I was thinking, well, it's because he's along with everybody. But he's not
He also
fully
technically
protecting and
has a
fully
final two
honoring
with
everybody.
David.
Right, but he's not fully honoring everyone. He's trying to honor David. He's trying to save David. So I was like, that thought's out the window. And it was like coming in my head, like what is David's use to Tyler? I think I'm not sure he has one except maybe information. But what information can David give? What information does he have that Tyler already doesn't? Right?
Yeah.
And the only other thing I'm thinking is if David makes it the jury, it's a jury vote. That's the only thing I'm thinking.
That too.
That's the
I mean,
only
I
thing
think
that came to
that,
my head.
like with Tyler, that could be a very good reason why. I think that Tyler in BB20, his biggest thing was jury management, and everyone just didn't vote for him because no one liked him. And I think if he can just get jury votes, that's probably what it is. But maybe that's why he's also been so bubbly. I mean, he's always kind of been bubbly in the house, but this season he's more not strictly game, but also just talking. Because BB20, like, he was a very good player, but like he was an only game player. And that might be the reason why jury management wasn't great. I think information and jury management, as you said, are the main two reasons. But anyways, let's talk about Janelle and Kaser because we've talked about them a little so far, but not too much in depth. Janelle and Kaser this week, I thought that they are still kind of screwed.
They're going on the block this week. I think Tyler's putting them up. I think, and there's going to be no backdoor plan either. Like you're putting Janelle and Kaser up, you're setting one out. If one comes off, like I was talking to my brother about this. He was saying, if one of them comes off, put Memphis up and send him home. But then you're leaving an angry Janelle and Kaser coming after you. He's not doing that. If you put up Janelle and Kaser, you're taking a shot at one of them. You're sending one of them home. If one of them wins POV, you're putting up like a Bailey or a Davon. You're putting up someone who's very well liked. So
and you know that he'll go out. That's interesting. I think
they'll have the 5 votes. They'll have 5 votes from the Alliance, right? They'll have Christmas, Memphis, Cody, Danny, Nicole, right? That's 5.
He'll have David.
He'll have David
because
6.
David's aligned with him.
And that's it because there's 15 people. There's 14 left.
Enzo, if he's not like this week, will vote with Cody. So they control the vote no matter what.
That's all they need. That's all I need. 6. If they win HOH, if they win HOH every week, they control the house. And that's all they
basically control the house either way. But Janelle and Kaser, I think they don't have a safety suite, neither of them. I think they're kind of screwed.
I'd like to see Janelle go because honestly, I'd like to see how Kaser is going to play without Janelle. I know Janelle will play this game without Kaser. I don't know how good Kaser is going to be without Janelle.
That's very true.
Because he's always been effective before
Janelle. I agree that the target should be Janelle.
So, I agree.
But this week, I thought it was interesting how Kaser tried to make an alliance, a 6-person alliance with basically the 6 people that aren't in the other one. With Davon, Bailey, who was it? It was Davon, Bailey, Kaser, Janelle, Christmas, who's technically in the other one. And
she's not.
But anyways, either way, that alliance obviously didn't go through. Davon was not having any of that. Davon so far, I think Davon and Bailey are really trusting of Cody and Enzo and really trusting of the alliance they made week 1 and are sticking with that and sticking with their loyalty to that. And Bailey and Davon are a really interesting power duo too in the house. I think they have the potential to make it at least a jury. with the way they're
Yeah.
playing. Especially Davon. Davon's come out swinging. Like Davon's playing with no joke. Like she looks scary right now in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
100%.
as long as she can keep the emotion out of her and not go into super emotional mode like she did in BB18 and BB19,
Yeah.
could be very interesting. And Bailey too needs to control her emotions, which I think she's done very well too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And her
if
repairing her
they
relationship
can
with
control
Tyler
those
last
emotions.
week, her repairing her relationship with Tyler last week was a good step forward in that.
Mm-hmm. I don't like. I think if Tyler won week 1 HOH, Bailey might be on the block, but I don't think Bailey's has any worries right now. I think Bailey. I think it's just a different relationship between Tyler and Bailey this time. I mean, Tyler and Bailey, their past isn't great, and they kind of know that, but they're trying to work to making it better. It looks like that. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't really think Bailey has anything to worry about. Maybe she'll go up as a pawn, if anything.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I think the only player we haven't talked about, I'm looking at the cast list right now, is Ian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ian, quiet week. Quiet week. He had that he was safe this week from the
That's
safety
funny.
suite.
I love that punishment. I'm sorry, that was classic. I know you hated that veto meeting moment. I loved it. It's classic Big
I
Brother. Do you remember like in season 16 when Derek had that like $5,000, and it'd be in the middle. He'd be like in the middle of his veto speech and be like, "Hey Derek, holla at your girl." And then
yeah,
Derek
I
be
mean,
like, "Thank me, dog."
I don't know. I think I was just tired, to be honest. I wasn't even tired. Actually, what happened was I had plans with friends, so I just didn't want to see it. I just wanted the
Yeah.
veto meeting to I wanted the veto meeting to end, and then I could just go out with my friends.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I find it annoying when Big Brother does that stuff, but that's just me. I think I'm a
That's
very
the thing. Like
I think I'm a small minority of people that find that annoying.
you
So
and I agree on so many things in this game. It's like one of the few things we don't agree on. But here's the thing: quiet week for Ian. This is symbolism at its finest, or foreshadowing, or I don't even know what this is, because it's comes like quiet week for Ian. That's a good thing for Ian.
Ian is
You
playing
know?
very well, very well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
He's
I I said it earlier tonight to my parents. I was like, you know what? I think that Ian's gonna win head of household just to feel it. And he actually almost did, but
he almost
obviously
there,
he
yeah.
didn't.
But
He didn't,
I,
but he
I
almost
think he's
did.
fine.
But which I think is fine too.
Like I
But
think
Ian is a very good
Ian's
head of household. Like Ian, when
I
he's
think
head of household
Ian,
in his season,
yeah.
he does things like he gets good players out and makes good move, but does the like gets those good players out very strategically, and he thinks about it in his brain, and he knows exactly what to say, how to get them out without letting anything bad happen to him. Like so, Ian, I don't even mind if he wins an HOH because I know how good he is at controlling the position of HOH. So,
Yeah.
but
I think too that Ian not winning HOH is okay for his game too, because you know what, the smartest thing for him was letting the game play out on his own. You know, if he was either going to be out in the first 2 weeks, or he's going to go into
yeah,
jury at least, because the thing is that people are either going to target him for being a winner, or the game was just going to start. Emotions were going to start flaring up, and people would forget all about him. He
and
just
that's what's
blends right
happening,
in the background, and that's what's
and
happening.
that's what's happening. And the thing with Ian, um, like the best thing he's done so far, which was this week, getting Christmas to use the safety suite on him. Like
Dude,
he executed that so amazingly. It reminded I think Memphis, like I'm so upset that Memphis has this grudge towards Ian for Dan losing against him, because like they would make such a good duo. I see Memphis learning from Dan and doing a lot of the things Dan's done. I also see Ian doing a lot of the things Dan's done. So putting them together, I think they would just be Dan, and they'd win the game. But
to be honest though, like Ian didn't beat Dan. Ian won on a better jury.
Well, yeah, but he's learned a lot from Dan, and even the safety suite, that whole conversation with Christmas just shows you how much he's learned from Dan.
Oh yeah,
like he used Dan's textbook.
He did, yeah.
He used Dan's textbook in order to keep his safety for the week.
Not only did
Memphis was even thinking of targeting him before that. Memphis said,
that's what I was going to say. Not only did that keep him safe for the week, that stirred the pot, because now Memphis is like, oh, I wish you didn't do that. You know, I wanted to target Ian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Christian's like, well, whatever, he's a number for us. And then Ian, and then now Memphis is all upset his alliance. That was the start of the downfall of his alliance, and it's Ian's fault. But no one's even blaming Ian for it.
Ian's a genius. Like
he is.
Like he's a smart guy. It's going to be very interesting. He just broke a 6-person alliance. Like, and he's not even in the alliance, and no one's even targeting him because of it.
Without realizing it, too.
Without realizing it. I don't even know if he realizes it. He probably doesn't even realize it. He probably doesn't even realize they're in alliance, but still, it's still so amazing. This is why I watch Big Brother, for moments like that. But anyways, I think we've talked about everyone except for Tyler. So let's talk about our predictions for the week and let's get going. So you kind of already alluded to it. You said Janelle and Kaser, right? That is a very Tyler move. Tyler does put up big players. He's won a lot of HOHs and BB20s, so who knows what he'll do, because every time he's something different. So he's put up big players, but he's also done small moves too. I think it's time for a big move, though. It's time. This house needs to get shook a little. So Janelle and Kaser is a good bet. I think personally that tensions are so high. Tensions are so high with Tyler and Memphis especially, and so high in that alliance. Well, I think what will happen is an unplanned backdoor. So basically what that means is they're going to originally put up 2 people, maybe like Janelle and Kaser, right? Mm-hmm. And I think tensions will grow with Memphis and Tyler. I think what will happen is, Memphis specifically didn't want to target Janelle and Kaser last week because he's aligned with them. And I don't think that there's that much loyalty to that alliance, but he just wanted to keep those numbers, right? And I think what will happen is he'll put up Janelle and Kaser. Memphis will get upset at Tyler for putting them up. Even he's going to say something like, I don't want them up together or something, and nobody put up together or something like that. And I think that they'll be like, okay, tensions are kind of high in the group, and it's only because of Memphis. Let's backdoor Memphis, and Memphis is going to go home backdoored. That's what I think.
All right, I'm gonna give full predictions for the week. Okay.
Full predictions.
Safety suite. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you everything. Safety suite, Memphis. His +1 is going to be Enzo. But not in the alliance, someone like that, right?
Someone random.
Veto. Nominees are going to be Janelle and Kaser, and Janelle is going to win the veto. You heard this here first. She's pulling herself off, and I think there'll be a Kevin going up and Kaser's going home. Unanimous.
Interesting. Well,
that is my
unanimous except for one. I think if that happens, Janelle will be the one vote.
Oh, right. Janelle is going to keep Kaser. Yeah. But, yeah. So
interesting.
It's going to be that's my prediction for the week.
Yeah. I'll give my other predictions. I think that the safety suite, it's interesting you said Memphis, because I think Memphis is in such a tough spot because even if he wins the safety suite this week, he is such a big target because now he's won a head of household, a power of veto, and a safety suite. The target on his back is crazy. So I think and the safety suite happened so early in the week that I think that he might even just throw it. And what might happen is Cody will win it, is my prediction. Because I don't think that they'll get angry at each other. Because I don't even think they're thinking about noms until after the safety suite.
Cody can't play. He played last week. You played this week.
Oh, Cody did play this week. Okay, wait, who's playing? I need to think of who's left.
Danny has it. Nicole F has it. Memphis has it.
Davon,
I
Bailey.
believe Davon and Bailey still have it.
Yeah. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say Nicole F. I'm going to say Nicole F wins it, saves Davon. Someone on, actually doesn't save Davon. They don't have a good pass. I'm going to say he saves Bailey.
Ian.
Bailey.
She could save Ian, though.
Or Enzo. No, I don't think Ian's going to get saved 2 times in a row.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone in the house already knows Nicole and Ian are working together. So.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they're in an alliance. That's very true. I forgot that alliance existed. So, Ian, I forgot that alliance existed. Went over my head.
That's why I think Nicole F would save.
Yeah, I think Nicole F will win it, save Ian. And then Tyler will nominate Janelle and Kaser. Tensions will grow between Memphis and Tyler throughout the week. Janelle will win the power veto. I agree with you on that. And Memphis will go up and Memphis will go out.
What vote count?
By a unanimous vote.
I could see that being a split vote. I could see,
I can't see it being split.
I could see the group coming together saying, let's get Kaser out. We targeted them, and save Memphis.
And then the other side of the house being like, let's get Memphis out, maybe. I don't know. I think that Memphis is in big trouble this week.
It could be a whole it could be a whole brigade situation. Remember where they were getting rid of Matt, but Matt had the diamond power veto, and then then they convinced Matt that he was still in the brigade, but he wasn't, and then they got rid of him later. I think that's sort of the situation they could pull off with that. Because here's the thing: if you're putting up Janelle,
I think tensions are too high. I think they're just too high with Memphis.
You put up Janelle and Kaser, you have to get rid of one of them. You're screwed if one of them doesn't. If they're both still here, you know what I mean? If they're both still there, you put them up, you anger them, they're coming after you, and they're both still here.
Yeah.
I think you put them up. You got to deal with the tensions of Memphis for another week, and you have to get rid of one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think that Memphis is in a tough spot this week.
Because I'd rather deal with Memphis and Janelle than Janelle and Casey.
Memphis and Janelle.
Because Memphis and Janelle aren't going to work together like as well as Janelle and Kaser would. They might work together, be like, we're in trouble, let's work together, but they're not going to agree eye to eye, whereas Janelle and Kaser would.
Yeah. I mean, they just haven't played together. So I think it's going to be a very interesting week. But
anyways,
that's a good spot to end it. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back next week right after the eviction to cover the next week of Tyler's reign as head of household.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting week. You heard our predictions here first. We'll catch you all next Thursday.
Also,
Peace.
just a quick thing before we end. So we are trying to get the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Hopefully you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts at this point. It is under review by Apple. I don't know why, but hopefully we can get episode 1 and episode 2 up there soon. So hopefully I'm sounding really stupid right now, and you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, and I'm just sounding really stupid because you guys, it's already on Apple Podcasts. But if it's not, just a heads up, that's what we're working on getting it on that. But if not, listen to it on Spotify, listen to it on YouTube, listen to it on Anchor, and follow us on Instagram at BB Big Brother in Our House. Anyways, we'll catch you later, and thank you for watching. Peace.